Aha, there you go.
Hello, sir.
Good evening, Onyekwelu.
Good evening. I'm blessed, to you.
I'm great, thank you very much indeed.
Good. I just wanted to be sure, like you suggested, we should try this before the hour mark.
So, right. First of all, this bit works. There's only one thing I want to share on Onyekwelu, and that's the. I'm just gonna. Hold on. Chrome tab window. Let's do a window. There we go. That's what I want to share. That's what I want to share at some point. Yeah. That QR code. Yeah. Right, and if people scan that, they get the Creative Finance ebook. Yeah,
that's fine.
Okay. Let me just drop that. That's.
Do you have anything like how you do in the armor? You have like your name and a QR code, something like that. Is there anything like that that we can put on towards the end?
Yeah.
Because
let me find the Alma. Alma presentations. Okay. Alma. Mondays. Alma. There we go. Where are you? Let's have a look. Templates, killing, main event slides. There we go. Well, that's on there as well. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. That's there as well.
Okay.
Right, so I've put together that short booklet on how people can raise money for property without using any of their own cash.
Okay, sir.
And even if they never invest, it can change how they think about money and opportunity. And inside the booklet, there's also an invite to some of the free sessions are run. So it's up to them. Yep.
I appreciate that, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Let me come back to this. All right. Yeah, I've got that. Let me just put that to one side. Let me get that bit right. Let's get that bit right, and then you can just ask me the questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do you want me just to do a literal download, or would you prefer to ask questions? Because the questions go deeper. I know they do.
Yeah, I think with the questions, you can feel free to share whatever you're comfortable to share, or whatever you feel that align with, that can flow with what. I like I told you, I merged them to about 6 questions, so we'll see how it goes. I think something in me tells me that we might go over an hour because people were asking questions, because some people have asked me, are they able to ask questions? I say, why not? So yeah, we'll see how that goes, and we'll take it up from there.
Good.
I think, like you said, even 3 weeks is not enough to do this, because your story, I find it, I'm not patronizing, but I find it very inspiring. So I know all of people will be blessed by it.
When you dig deep on Onyekwelu, there's so much. There really is. Life isn't easy to any of us. Yeah.
I agree. I'm trying to share the link, so once it goes 7 or so, a few minutes to 7. Sorry, I'm supposed to share it about now, so people can start joining. 1 minute. So. Yeah, it looks all right.
Yeah, good. Okay. Let me just get my cup of tea.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. I learned this from you, so I'm doing it.
Put a couple of books up there. Yeah.
Okay, let me just post the links. No, what's YouTube? Facebook. Okay. trying to send the link to. Your stream did not replace your words. Is not your internet. Just trying to send the link to us, sir. We'll start in a second.
That's okay. I'm fine. I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. Okay. Let's keep going. Okay, sir. We're good to go. You ready?
Good to go.
Yes.
Next time like the present. Let's do it.
Yeah, let me just put the timer on 1 minute. Yes. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. To those that have joined and those that are watching this later on. Thank you. Thank you for always joining. Just 1 minute. Let me just sort out some things and we can start now. Okay. All right. Yes. Welcome everyone. Let us know where you're watching us from. Let us know where you're watching us from. Or just type in the comment section. Auto post your highlights. Okay, no, not necessary. Okay, thank you. Let us know where you're watching us from. Yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you everyone. Thank you. You could be anywhere in the world. You could be doing or whatever it is that matters to you, but you just thought it important to always be on this channel all the time. I don't take it for granted. So yes, I do this every Sunday, 7 p.m. UK time. And today, like you saw, as advertised, we'll be having a conversation on replace your income. So I appreciate you joining. Thank you very much. Chima says she's watching from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pascaline. Thank you, John Baba. Thank you to your VA247. Thank you at Fools Versus. Thank you, Caleb001. Thank you to as many of you that have joined. Sorry, I might not be able to read everyone that I'm seeing. So yes, thank you to all those that joined from TikTok, over 42,000 plus. Thank you to those that on YouTube, close to 1,000. Thank you to those that would watch this or joining from Facebook. I think over 7,000 of you. Thank you to all those on Instagram, about 9,000 plus. And we're also live on LinkedIn as well. So feel free to watch from anywhere. But if you have intentions to ask a question in person, or thank you, Patience. Thank you, Patience, for joining. If you have Annabelle, thank you for joining. If you want to ask questions to our guests, like I don't know how to call it, in person or with your voice, preferably through YouTube, through TikTok, or I can send a link out and you can join. So just for those that are watching on YouTube or Facebook, on LinkedIn or on Instagram, you would be able to see our guests if you're looking at you could see him. He has his video on. But if you're watching from YouTube, from TikTok, you won't be able to see him. You can only hear his audio. I don't know. I'm not yet a technical person, so I can't. Just trying to find the best way to make all this happen. So that means if you have a separate device, you can put it on YouTube or on Facebook or Instagram or whatever to see his face as he's talking. But if you want to contribute, then you can contribute through TikTok. You can contribute through Facebook, through I think through I don't know. You can contribute to Facebook, but not YouTube. I think YouTube is only you can only type. So whatever it is, just send a DM or send a message in the chat options. Let's know how we can help you out. So without taking too much of our time, thank you very much for always joining. Very much appreciated. You can always share on TikTok. You long press and you can see the repost button. Please share this so people can be blessed by it. I think on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and the other ones, you should see a button that says repost or reshare. Please share them. I think we had over 15,000 likes the last time on YouTube, on TikTok. Please just keep tapping on the screen if you appreciate what you're hearing. The same thing with Facebook and others. There should be a like button. So the more you do that, the more people get to know about this. And just like the way you came across this, more if you just came across this on social media, more people can get to know about this. So remember, like on my bio, there's a free ebook. If you're interested in it, you can get that. Later on, there will be also a code to our guests, a free ebook as well, so that you guys can download for those that I'm sure that will be interested in it. So I also have the paid ebook. Just check on my bio. You can find that a paid ebook or a free ebook, anyone that you're interested in. Please check on my bio. You can find a link to it. So for those that are interested in having a conversation with me, just 10 minutes for free. Personal guidance or business related, please send me a DM. Or sorry, there's also the link on my bio. You can find that out as well. So if you'd like to join our community of like minds so that you can grow and whatever, there's a QR code on the flyer. Just scan that. It will take you to my page. Thank you, Rita, for joining. Thank you, Miss Mai, for joining. Thank you, Hani Shego, for joining. Thank you all. I can't keep up with all the names coming up. So yes, remember that this live stream is sponsored by the Hair You Love, D610 Homes, and Love Family Podcast. Please do well to check them out. And yeah, do well to check them out. So the aim of what I do, why I do what I do, why we have the guests we have today, why every Sunday I'm always here talking to you guys, is to stir up a dissatisfaction in your spirit man. You know, is to awaken the things that you can be. There's loads of things that you can become. You have not yet become. So it's to awaken those things in you. And if nothing stirs at the end of this session, you need to check yourself. I always say that. It's not being rude, but you need to check yourself. So there's no way you listen to the guests speak today that there will not be something in you that is, there's a dissatisfaction that something, you should be able to say, I must take action. That's the whole idea of what we're doing. Remember what I always say, and I'll say it again. The Bible makes us understand somewhere in Ecclesiastes 10 verse 7, it says, I've seen servants on horses, while princes walk on ground like servants. So there's a place where God has designed for you to be. So you ought to be in the right place and not at the wrong place. So without taking too much of our time, I do want to make us understand that today we are not just talking about property, we're talking about liberation. You know, many people go spend a chunk of their lives building someone else's dreams. Some for mortgage, some for retirement plan, you know, some for different other reasons. But today I hope that you learn how to flip that script. And without taking too much of our time, I call our guest an architect of freedom. That's what I call it. That's how I see him. That's my understanding of who he is to me. You know, our guest tonight is a man who recognized early that 40 hours a week is a cage to those that are meant to fly. He's a living embodiment of hustle to freedom journey, and started from the streets of London selling sweets, and he has made his way to owning property empire across the UK. So with over 2 decades of raw in the trenches experience as a business owner and landlord, he has masterminded the art of building wealth, not through quick win or get rich quick. No. But through relentless pursuit of multiple income streams. Today, he lives life entirely on his own terms. Remember, that's what I always taught you guys about. He's more than just an investor. He's a mentor. And guess what, guys? He's a trainer's trainer. So he trains people that train people. He's a strategic coach who believes that when the student is ready, the path reveals itself. He doesn't just help you reach your goals, he helps you outrun them. So please help me welcome the man that has helped many transit from trading their time for money to building a legacy that pays them back. Please welcome my mentor, Mark Dalton. Thank you very much, sir.
Wow. That's a very big introduction there, Onyekwelu. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining. I know you're a very busy man, and I appreciate the fact that you accepted this.
No. If I can help somebody somewhere out there, that's great.
I appreciate that, sir. So we're just going to go straight to the because of our time, and I know that people might want to ask a lot of questions. You know, so a lot of people might want to know. Yes, they've seen the posters, they've seen the flyers, but they're curious to know. Or they watch my status and all that. They always see they follow my posts. They see your pictures and stuff come up. You know, but they still want to know. Take us back to those streets, the street shop days in the streets of London. You know, Tell us about that hunger, that the zeal. You know, you told me that you drive from Luton to London every day. You know, tell us about those things, and also let us know about why when was that aha moment that you took it? I think property is the way to escape that grind. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay, all right. So for people to get a real context, like everybody, I grew up being told by my parents, work hard and you'll be okay. Well, I worked hard, and at the age of 42, I wasn't okay. I was £80,000 in debt. I was spending £30 a week on the lottery. My wife had run off with a plumber. I can laugh about that now a little bit because we're friends. She's the mother of my kids, etc. But my life wasn't okay, and don't get me wrong. What I was doing, I was enjoying, but I realised it wasn't getting me. I was a market trader. I was a street trader. You know? And a typical day started around about 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Around about 4 o'clock in the morning, and get down to the markets of northwest London, Harlesden, Willesden area, Neasden area, for around about 5 o'clock. And between 5 o'clock and 9 o'clock, this is in the morning, I would spend putting up a market stall, getting the market stall ready. And the whole idea was, if we're going to market, we need to sell as much as we could. Yeah. So the van was always full, and the objective of the day was to empty the van. Right. It never ever worked, but hey, right. That was the overall plan. And even though it took us roughly 4 hours to put this stall together, right, the job was to sell and keep selling all day. And at 9 o'clock in the morning, we started selling. Yeah, we were selling before that. People would come along, and I was selling cakes, biscuits, sweets, drinks, anything that people needed for the kids' pack lunches. Bread. We were selling bread. We were selling croissants and nice pastries, which I tend to eat. Yeah, and chocolate and all that type of stuff. We would sell like crazy all day. There was no coffee breaks. There was no lunch breaks. Right. The objective was just to keep selling. And sometimes the weather was great. Sometimes the weather was bad. You know, no matter what, we just had to keep turning up. There's a little clue actually into being successful. Just keep turning up. And we would start breaking the stall down around about 5 o'clock in the evening, and that would then take around about an hour and a half to get the stock back on the van that we hadn't sold, and for us to get all the market stall itself on the van as well. So we didn't leave the market until around about 6:30, and then we had to drive back to Luton. Yeah. Which in those days was taking around about an hour and a half in the evening. Going there in the morning was easy. Coming back in the evening was a trek. Wow. I used to walk through the door, and my little son, who's now big, very big, he would be saying, "Dad, Dad, Dad," and I would be saying, "In a minute, in a minute, in a minute." And to be honest, I never really saw him grow up because I was always working. I was doing this 5-6 days a week. Yeah. Right. And I did this for 16 years. Right. But even at 8 o'clock, we still hadn't finished because the money had to be counted. We had to make sure that, there was cash control as such. Yeah. There was reasons why that. I won't go into the reasons. But that normally took through till about 8:45. And even at 9:45 in the evening, the day still hasn't finished. I had to go back out and reload the vans for the following day. And I actually didn't sit down through till about 10 o'clock at night. And I would sit down and have my dinner, tea, whatever you want to call it, at 10 o'clock at night. And I would be watching the news and the local weather and all that type of stuff. And I was in bed by 10:45 at night. Yeah. And that's the way I live my life. As I said, roughly 6 days a week for the best part of 15, 16, 17 years, however long it was. And I knew it wasn't right. Don't get me wrong. I was relatively young. I was fit. I had the energy to do it. But I knew things weren't right. I knew that if I, like many of you, if you ask the question, if you lost your main income stream, how long would it take before somebody's knocking on your door, asking for car payments and asking for the mortgage payments, food on the table, not having food on the table and all that. And I knew I was vulnerable, and being on the market stalls, right? I was working with some great people, don't get me wrong, hard workers, hard grafters, but they didn't have a plan. And even the ones that were successful, they still all had to turn up. And if they didn't turn up, there was no money. And anybody that's self-employed on this call will totally understand it. Nobody pays somebody that's self-employed sick pay when they're sick, right?
Yeah.
If you want a holiday, you don't get holiday pay. You've got to make sure that you've got enough there to cover yourself. Yeah, right. And because of all of that, I just knew that I had to do something, but I didn't know what, and I was searching, right? And the years were going by, the years were disappearing, and I could see, I saw poverty in Northwest London at the time. People that had turned into what I would call their retirement years, and they're still renting. Yeah, and if they're still renting, where's the money coming from for this rent? Because they couldn't work anymore, right? And they were just living poorly, very poor. And that was a big awakening to me. Massive. And I spent way too long in that despair because I hadn't done one thing. Educated myself, and it was in May 2000.
Okay.
I came across a chap called Robert Kiyosaki. I was at home.
Okay.
It was a Monday morning. I was at home. Should have been down at Kingston Market. Why was I at home? I do not know. It was 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, the TV was on. It was the Oprah Winfrey Show, and on walked this chap called Robert Kiyosaki, right? And he said 3 words, yeah, income generating assets, and that was the moment that changed my life around. And income generating assets, what did it mean? It meant to me that the assets worked and not me. And this guy was talking sense, about we're not taught how to create wealth, how to build wealth properly. Yeah, a lot of people who build wealth, in a way, I'm not going to say everybody, but some people, it just happens, but they don't know why it happened, right? And by listening to Robert Kiyosaki on the Oprah Winfrey Show, I went upstairs and Googled Robert Kiyosaki. Not Googled, it was Amazon, and bought his book Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? And now that book, when it came, I read it. That's the one. That's exactly the one. And when it came, I read that book over and over again. I just didn't read it. I studied it. It gave me hope where hope didn't exist. I didn't know how I was going to get out of the mess. And all of a sudden that I was in, because I was £80,000 in debt. But reading this book, it gave me hope. Yeah. It gave me a plan. It gave me a strategy. And in there, Robert Kiyosaki is big on education, and rightfully so. Yeah, and rightfully so, because without the education, you don't know what to do. And so he said, attend seminars, trainings, read books. Now, I hadn't read books for 20 years, I don't need to read a book. I'm a man. I know how to make money. I'm going to change it. But this man showed me that my plan wasn't working. And because it wasn't working, right, and because it wasn't working, I was, I like to use the word screwed, and some of you will totally understand what I'm on about there. And he said, read other books, get CD. Well, it wasn't CDs in those days; it was tapes for any of the audience that are older. For those of you that don't even know what a tape is, it was like a CD. If you know what a CD is, yeah, right?
Yeah, the tape. Yeah,
I don't even know what a CD is, right? Nowadays, and I started educating myself, and that was all well and good, right? And it was giving me hope, but I didn't know how to apply it, implement the knowledge. I didn't have the right people around me. There was no training courses. There was no seminars. There was no mentors that could hold my hand. Not anybody that I knew of anyway. I just mixed with the wrong people. And, you know, by mixing with the wrong people, that cost me what I would call 20 years of my life. Yeah, best part of 20 years of my life. Yeah. But anyway, in May 2002, a little leaflet dropped through my door, attend a property training seminar. And then the rest became history. I got myself educated, got myself trainers, mentors, right? Followed a plan. I'm not going to say it's a simple plan, but most people will understand it. Is about buying a smelly house, a house that needs fixing up, adding value to it. And because we bought it at a decent price and we've added value, it becomes worth more. Quite simple, right? And that process, we then could rent that property out, and that would give me an income. And in general, if you did that right, I'm not going to get too technical, but we could recycle our money over and over and over and over again. And that was the very simple plan. Just the idea was buy a house a year for the next 20 years, following that plan. That all changed when I got myself a mentor, but that's another story. Anything you want to ask me there, Onyekwelu? Because I just did a massive data dump on you.
Yeah, so I really appreciate that. And I'm sure that people are learning from me as well. So I'm just trying to set this up so people can be a part of it. 1 minute, sorry. Okay. So yes, you didn't do a data dump. I took a lot of notes, and I can tell you everything that I took, and I'm sure people as well were benefiting from it. I think you covered about two of the things that I think you touched on everything, because I wanted to flesh out the hunger that for 16 years or so, for 6 days a week, and from 4 a.m. to about 10 p.m., you are doing the suite-related business in a day, and you also did it. You also getting set for the next day, which shows that you're not a lazy person, and which shows that hunger and a desire, for the next level, So, at what point did you realize property was the ultimate vehicle to escape that grind, and which you also touched on? So, thank you very much for that, sir. And I'm sure that people are learning a thing or two, and I'm sure that they would be happy that you're sharing this.
It's a really good question. What was the tipping point? Yeah. Right. To me, there was many tipping points. You're always learning. Yeah, you're continuously learning. What you think you know, the older I get, the more I think, the more I learn, the less I realize how little I know. Yeah, being trained and mentored in buying what I call the distressed house and forcing the appreciation. That was a great way for me, because it made me realize that if I just followed that plan, I could put a pension together for when I get to 65, 60. I'm 67 right now. So let me just the plan actually works. Right. My original financial freedom number was a couple of £1,000 a month. Right. And even in today's world, that's still meaningful money. If you add an extra £2,000 a month, a lot of people on the call tonight, if they had an extra couple of £1,000 a month that was coming in to their pocket every single month, they would be feeling a lot better about their future. Yeah,
Yes,
a lot
I
better
agree.
about their future, right? But I was already hitting that number through my rentals. And to me, that de-risked everything. I didn't stop working. I had a choice now to stop working. Yeah.
Good. That's it.
And it was, but the real tipping point that I think that you're trying to get to was when I bought a property in Blackpool and I sold it on quite quickly, relatively quickly.
Okay.
And I made £17,000. Now, £17,000 was like 9 months' work to me. As a market trader, I'm earning like less than £5 an hour. And to put this actual deal together, it took me about 10 hours. Don't get me wrong. I've spent a lot of time training, reading, educating myself like crazy. About this, spending time with the right people. But that deal took me about 10 hours, 3.5 hour drive to Blackpool from Luton, where I live, 3.5 hours back, probably half an hour looking round this property, right? And another hour and a half spent with my mum and dad having fish and chips for lunch, because my mum and dad lived in Blackpool.
Okay.
And so that's roughly 10 hours. And when the profit came in for that, right, it's like £17,000 for 10 hours work. I'm thinking to myself, £5 an hour here, £1,700 an hour here, right? What should I be doing? And I've been reading books by people like Brian Tracy behind me, and he had said, focus on the highest paying tasks. If you want to become wealthy, focus on the highest paying tasks. Yep. Okay. Well, that was a high paying task in my eyes. Yep. Right. I could only dream of earning that type of money. Yep. So, that meant £1,700 an hour. I was lucky if I was getting close to that for a whole month's work. Yeah. And that was the moment that made me realize that I'm really onto something. Yes, I have the income coming, but like everything in life, at some point that no matter how well you plan, it can be taken away from you. No matter how, right? So I knew that, somewhere inside me knew that, look, you don't stop, right? If you've got the opportunity to earn, you earn, again, maybe it's just some of the education I picked up along the way of the biggest asset most people have. Well, the biggest asset most people have is their health. Yeah. And as long as they've got the health, right, they've got the next biggest asset, which is their ability to earn. And if you've got an ability to earn, the question is, should you? Yeah. Right. And for me, the answer was quite simple. Yes, I've got to keep earning. Yeah. Right. And do the best that I can. But at that moment in time, because I was achieving what I thought everybody else was doing, I didn't realize that all I was doing was following a very, very simple system, not questioning it too much, right? Getting theoretical about it. And people today will say to me, yeah, but what about this? But what about that? But what about the other? Right? In life, you have to deal with all sorts. Yeah. Right. I think it's Charles Darwin who says it's not the strongest and the fittest that survive, it's the ones who adapt the quickest. And that's what I was good at, adapting to life. I'm not saying I adapted fast, I just adapted. Yeah. Right. And if there was challenges, I dealt with them head on, and don't get me wrong, some of them were very scary, really, and that's why there's no hair and that's why it's all white. along those lines. Yeah. And just mentioning, things don't work out, very early on, one of the biggest mistakes was focusing purely on buying property. Yeah. Which everybody, I need to buy property. I need to buy property. I need to buy property. Right. But I was not spending enough on the long-term management. Right. So I was buying property, but I was a poor manager. And one of the guys that taught me, I said to him, look, I've got some bad tenants already. And he goes, Mark, you've been on my training. You've not got bad tenants. you're a bad manager. Yeah. And it was right. It was my responsibility. You know, make a note of that. It's always our responsibility, right? And the real money is made in how you manage the asset over a long time. You know, it's, you know, people will say to me, oh, properties, you know, it's this, it's that, it's the other, it's all doom and gloom. Get a life. Yeah, right. If it's done well and you're very professional about it, right? The plan works, guys. The plan really works. Yeah. Look, it's not for everybody. Property's not for everybody. I get that. Yeah, I get that. It was just what I did. It's what I saw that would work for me, and I just got busy. But any business that anybody wants to create some form of financial independence, they've got to put time, effort, and energy into it, and learning and educating themselves. So property is no different to business. And business, if you can do property, you can do business. And if you can do business, you can do property. No?
Good answer. We're very much appreciated, and I'm sure people are there a thing or two. I've written that quite a lot, and I think at some point I have to go over them. Just to take us further, I'm just going to ask so people can better understand this thing, because I believe that you shared a story about the times selling suites in London. If you can walk us through your first deal, I think it'd be very inspiring for a lot of people. Let us know whether it was it a BRR, was it HMO, was it rent to rent, whatever it is.
No. The interesting bit is.
Well, let me add this. And also, if you don't mind, at what property number one, trading your time for money, and I think that's about it. And there's some things I wanted to ask, which I would like you to highlight on. You touched on a little bit about mentorship. You said someone said to you, "I touch." If you can touch on that, it'll be nice. I don't know if you remember what I shared. Your first deal and what the deal was.
Let's start with the first deal. The first deal. Yeah. The very first deal. It was a place called Heathfield in Blackpool. And it fit the criteria of all the training that I'd had. It was an empty house. Yeah. It had been rented out. It needed fixing up, new kitchen, bathroom. Fabric of the house was fine. The gas, the electric. It needed a new boiler. Okay, right. So this property was on the market for something like £50,000. Yeah, if I remember rightly. Yep. And I was able to buy it for 34. Many years ago, as I was starting on my journey, I asked one of the trainers, who actually became a mentor of mine. Yeah, and still is a mentor of mine when I think about it. I phone him up every now and again, and I said to him, right, if there's one thing in property that's going to really help me become successful, what would that one thing be? What can I do? Yeah. And he said, Mark, make lots of offers and make them cheeky. Yeah. Make lots of offers and make them cheeky. Yeah. And that became my modus operandi. If he said that, that's what I did. But in hindsight, other people heard that and didn't do it. Yeah. And they got left behind. Right. So I found a property up in Blackpool, offered £34,000 on it, bought it for £34,000, spent £7,000 on fixing it up. This is 20 odd years ago now, guys. So understand that. Yeah. These numbers would be double at least today. Spent £7,000 on getting it fixed up, a couple of £1,000 on fees. So 34,000 to buy, 7 to fix up, 3 to fees. So that property to me has cost me £43,000. Now we expected it to value up at round about the £55,000 marker, right? Which was fine. Yeah, right. There I am, 43,000. Value up at 55. I've made £12,000. Yeah, in 3-4 months. Yeah, potentially. But the value came in at £67,000. Yeah, there's lots that went on. Right, the seasons were right. The sun was shining. The daffodils were coming up. Right, so people felt good. Right, and because of that, when I went to refinance it, I was able to what I call pull the money back out. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Pull the money back out and then reinvest again. And instead of having one deposit, I've got two deposits now. Yeah. And just so as everybody knows, none of that was my money. That was other people loan me the money to put that deal together. Yeah. But that was where training came in. That's where the education came in. This is, it doesn't matter what business we're in, right? Educate yourself about the business as much as you can. So that's how it got started. And that cash flow was 150. Well, it was £148 a month. It's not going to change your life. If you had £150 a month coming in, that's £1,800 a year, right? For you to get £1,800 a year out of a bank account today, right? Even if you're getting 3%, yeah, you need £60,000 in a bank account. Well, my question there to anybody nowadays is, number one, how long is it going to take you to save £60,000? Right? How long is it going to take you to save £60,000? Right? And for a lot of people, it was never. I never even got anywhere near it. But then, because I'd refinanced it, got the money, I can go and do it again, and again, and again. Right? So the same pot of money was recycled over and over again. Yeah.
That's good. I very much appreciate it, sir. And I'm getting feedback, like great questions, and people are responding to that and with their likes and their loves. I'm sure you can see, but I can see, especially on TikTok. So thank you for that, sir. And just to add to what you just said, I would like you to touch on at property number one, did you stop trading your time for money, or did you say, I'm not going to go to the streets of London again?
No, that wasn't then. It took me, right, understand, I am a different beast. I just got busy. As one of the mentors had said to me, go out and make lots of offers. And I did. And I made lots of offers. Even though my investment area is 3.5 hours away from where I was, I made offers and I was consistent in those offers, right? And I kept those offers going and I followed up on those offers. And over an 18-month period, I put 15 deals together. Yeah, right. And people will say, oh, how do you do that? I just put the effort in. It was that simple. If I didn't do this, I'm going to be a market trader for the rest of my life, right? And I'm going to be poor in my old age. I am not accepting being poor. I want my family to respect me for the hard work that I put in, the thought that I put that I put in, and I'm sure everybody on the call is feeling the same way, right? Did I know it was going to work? I'm going to say yes, I did, right? Because I believe so much in what Robert Kiyosaki was training and what or teaching, and what the people that I was working with were training me, teaching me on. I could see it was a simple process. And for me to get results, all I had to do was lots of it. And that's exactly what I did. So when the £17,000 came on that flip, that was a good 18 months after me doing a training. So it's the best part of nearly 4 years before I'd from reading the book. Yeah, from reading the book, say 3.5 years from reading the actual book. And that I didn't stop, but it gave me the choice to stop if I wanted to, right? The bit that I also realized that if you've got a bit of a money machine, like a market stall, yes, I'm trading time for money and it was hard work, but with the properties, I could reinvest the money that I was making from the properties. Yeah. Right. But luckily, I got picked up by the training company and they gave me better terms of work. Let's put it like that. I didn't have to go to a market at 4 o'clock in the morning. I could work in nice hotels and things like that. Yeah. They didn't pay me a lot. Yeah. In fact, I'll give you a clue. There's right. I got to the position of where they were interested in me to become a bit of a trainer. Yeah. And I went to the chief man and said, how much will you give me? And he just laughed at me.
Mm.
And I went, ooh. He says, we don't pay people.
Mm.
He says, you're doing it because you enjoy doing it.
Mm.
And I thought about that for one moment. Yeah. And I went, yeah, I'll do that. Not because I wasn't going to be paid, because I'm going to be able to spend time around other people that were achieving at a very high level compared to where I was at that time.
Good.
Don't get me wrong, they did pay me, but didn't pay me well. Didn't pay me fantastic amount. It was enough for the market stalls, cover the market stalls.
Mm.
There's a rule there that I run by quite often, right? And again, this is an entrepreneurial thing. Doing things and not getting paid, knowing that while you're doing that, you're learning. You're learning something, and that becomes very, very valuable. And it did become valuable to me. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. You shared a lot on it. So, and I very much appreciate it, and I'm sure people are learning as well. So just take us further. When you have a moment, I would like you to touch on mentorship, but let me ask this question, and when you find a moment, you can touch on that, because the reason why I say touch on it is that I'm a mentor, and aside from that, people don't see any reason why they should spend money or spend, after going to university, spend all that money. They don't see any reason why, So,
well, look, I see that in my world, and I understand that. Yeah, I understand that. People go to college, university nowadays and end up in tens, if not £100,000 worth of debt. I get that. What, to earn £40,000-50,000 a year, maybe 100 if they're lucky, right? And it takes them forever to pay off, right? So I'm not against education, not at all, right? But a mentor, just gets you there that bit faster. Having somebody who's already been there, done that, got the t-shirt, the mentor completely changed my trajectory. I'd never even heard of a mentor, right? Until I started reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah. And when I went for that very first property, which I just told you about, I had no money. I knew how to find the property. I knew how to get somebody to say yes to me, but I didn't have the money, right? And on that particular day, right, it wasn't one property. It was 6. I only bought 3 initially, and then I bought the other 3 a bit further down the road. And what my mentor did was to really change my mind. He showed me, right, because he said, right, we're buying 6 properties. What? 6? I can't even buy 1. Yeah. Right. And he said, come on, right, let's try and find the money. Yep. Okay. Before it was, well, I don't know how to raise money. I've got no idea. I don't know what I'm doing. He said to me, okay, right, let's have a look, see what we've got. Now I had borrowed £10,000 from American Express. I'd increased my credit card by £3,000. Yeah. Right. And I had refinanced my own home. It was only £26,000. 16 went into my training. £10,000 went into me original deals. Yeah. Right. But he said, well, that's not enough. We need some more. Yeah. And he got me to go into my phone. Very early phones, very, very early phones. And he said, how do you know this person? How do you know this person? And he made me put together a list of people. Now, I was expecting my mentor to say to me, right, go away tonight, phone these people and come back in the morning and tell me how you went. Yep. But my mentor was wise, because I'd already planned in my head that I was going to go back to my mum and dad's. I was staying at my mum and dad's. And I was going to go back to my mum and dad's and come back in the morning saying, oh, I tried so hard. I wasn't going to try. I was scared, absolutely terrified, of phoning people and asking people for money. right? I was begging. That's really what was going on. I was thinking I'm going to be begging, right? But the mentor said to me, and this is, I don't know if your audience understands the book, the film Sliding Doors. It's about what happens if you get on a train and what happens if you don't get on a train. It's a great film, Sliding Doors.
Okay.
And this was a sliding doors moment for me, because if I hadn't followed through on this, right, I'd be back on the market stall. I'd still be on that market stall. And he said, right, I had the usual list: mum, dad, brother, sister, blah, 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 people I work with, etc. And he said, right, get on the phones and phone them in front of me. I had to phone people in front of me. And I phoned my mum and dad to start off with, right? And I was not, the flavour of the family. I've got a brother that's Cambridge educated and all this type of stuff, yeah? I was a market trader in the back streets of northwest London. And my wife had run off with a plumber. I've got kids living in separate houses. And I phoned up my mum and she said, oh, Mark, let's talk about it when you get back. She didn't believe in me. Yeah, not at all. Phoned up my brother. I was 45 at this time. Phoned my brother up and he said, Mark, grow up, will you? Yeah, you're 45 years old. Your wife's run off with a plumber. You've got 2 kids living in separate houses. You're a street trader in the back streets of northwest London. Go and get a proper job. Yeah. Very supportive. And my sister said exactly the same thing. But the mentor kept saying to me, next, just phone the next one, just get the next one, just get the next one. Right. And I got down the list, and lo and behold, somebody that I went to school with went, how much do you want? And I went, £10,000. Yeah. And that was the start of it. There was more. There's a lot more to that story I'm not going to go into, but right, that I would not have been able to raise money if that person hadn't have been in front of me that night pushing me, and I would not be where I am today if that person wasn't pushing me. Yeah. By the end of the day, I'd raised £31,000. Wow. And that was the moment I realized that access to money isn't about what you have, it's about who you know and how you think about money. Yeah. As business owners, think about Richard Branson. When he bought Virgin, when he started Virgin, he had no money. He had no money at all. Right. And he doesn't sit at home today counting his money. Yeah. If he wants a new jet, he goes out and finds somebody to finance it for him. Yeah, and he pays them back bit by bit, and it's the same in what we do. Same in what we do in property, and that's why it's important to have what I call cash flow in properties. I'm big on cash flow. Cash flow is the stuff that frees you up. It's a purse that never empties, as I like to call it. Yeah, I'll ask this question of the group: how many of you would like a purse that never empties for the rest of your life? And everybody should be putting their hand up or saying me. Yeah. Right. And that's what property can do for you. It can give you a purse that never empties. You just think about if some of you are renting right now, right? Think who's making the money here. Yeah. It is your landlord. Yeah. Whether you like him or not, it's a different thing. Yeah. Right. And people go, oh, he's lucky, he's got the house and all this type of stuff. Right. He's not lucky. He's probably worked hard himself. Yeah. Trying to put food on the table for his family. Right. He's just learned the lesson that little bit earlier than you. Everything that I've learned is learnable. Yeah. No special skills here. Yep. No special skills here. Yep.
I appreciate that, sir. Thank you so much for that. So just take us further. Some people love to see big balance in their bank app. Like they just love to, when they open their phone, they just see their money in their account, and it just gives them satisfaction. So can you kindly share your thoughts as regards to saving versus investing? Which part actually replaces one's income faster? Just your thoughts, sir.
Just repeat the question again for me. Let me just get it right.
Saving versus investing.
Saving versus investing.
Some people like keeping the money in the bank account, looking at it, and it gives them satisfaction. Some people would want to invest, but maybe they don't know how to go about it. Some people say, okay, I'd rather invest than save. Then there's some people that say, no, I want to do stocks, I want to do bonds, I want to do all manner of stuff. Why property?
Right. So I suppose the initial thing is saving versus investing, right?
Yes.
And from reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, I learned very quickly that without income generating assets, savings run out. Right. And now I'm at an age when I see my contemporaries, people I grew up with, already running out of money. And they're panicking, yeah, because they had a nice savings pot, but inflation has got the better of them, right? So, you know, I learned this thing called income generating assets and understanding that savings eventually run out. So savings gives you comfort. It's nice and warm. It's nice to have in the bank account. And don't get me wrong, and savings. Right, just it makes you feel warm. Let me put it like that. So I get why people do it, right? But investing gives you continuity. You know, it's every month the purse empties, the purse fills back up. It's not me that's working. I've done the work once. I've bought a house that people want to live in. I look after that house. I look after those tenants, right? And because of it, they pay their rent. And that rent comes in every single month. Yeah. Right. So that's what I'm talking about, the continuity. Yeah. The real goal. All right. And again, this is about educating yourself, studying, investing. Yeah. Studying, investing. The real goal is to live with income coming in for the rest of your life. Yeah. Not to die with a shrinking pot and rising anxiety. My mum passed last year. Passed last year. My mum passed last year, 94. And during her 80s, while she was, she was all there, all she was worried about is, are we going to run out of money? And what's going to happen if we run out of money? What a way to live the rest of your life. Yeah. And I found that it made me realize what I was doing was so spot on, right? Just having this, I call it the purse that never empties. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big believer in investing for income first, with sensible cash buffers. Don't get me wrong. You know, yes, you're investing in real estate, but real estate is part of your overall wealth building. So, having savings is prudent just for stormy days. You know, all of a sudden a market crash or whatever. 2008 hit us. Anybody that's in the stock market today might be panicking about what's going on with all the AI stuff. Right? With houses, it's steady. Yeah. It's steady as long as you manage the buggers. That's what I'll always say. Manage them. And I've got to keep saying it. I've got to keep saying it. If you want to be happy, right, with your finances, create a purse that never empties, right? The income keeps flowing no matter what, and it doesn't determine your age. Yeah, it doesn't. Your age has nothing to do with it. Yeah.
Appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much for that. Just you touched on some of the other things I wanted to ask you. So, but just because I'm just looking at the time, going to ask, what is one thing you see that prevents people from buying their first property? I want to get a clarification. I'm not talking about like a property where people. Sorry, so let me just turn this alarm off for me.
I love doing these things. I hope we're inspiring you in some way, shape, or form. If we are inspiring you, just put inspiring in the chat box, comment box, whatever there is. Yeah. I don't even know who we're streaming to, so I can't see anything. All I know is I'm talking to Onyekwelu.
Yeah, it comes up on, like, it will show on Facebook. Yes, if you guys heard what he said, if you're being inspired, type the word inspired or inspire, whatever it is, on the chat button, so yeah. So
the question was, what do I see the thing that prevents people from doing a deal?
When I mean the first deal, some people mistake their first deal for the property that they live in that they pay the mortgage on. So that's not what I mean. I'm just trying to get that clarity.
You mean an investment property?
Yes, an investment property. Yes. Even if that's what is one thing that prevents people from going their first deal. Even some people have the money, some people don't have the money. What is that thing for both sides? If you don't mind.
The number one barrier isn't the money, actually. It's fear. And that fear comes from losing money. And that fear of losing money is because they don't understand quite some simple maths. You know, what I call the fundamentals, you know, and you know yourself that I do a fundamentals day.
Okay.
People, right. What do I mean by the fundamentals? People haven't researched the area properly. They haven't checked the long-term demands. You know, they haven't run the deal past the letting agents through the estate agents. Would they buy it here, or you know, if they would buy, why would they buy? If they didn't want to buy, why wouldn't they want to buy? Why would they rent? Why wouldn't they rent? Yeah, but the main part is they don't understand the numbers, and when you don't understand, right, some very, very basic principles. You know, you've got to be like a 12-year-old at school not to get this, right? Is you don't understand things called yield and cash flow or return on investment. Everything feels risky. And when you hear people like me talk about yield, cash flow, return on investment, you think we're clever. Guys, we're not. Right? All we've learned to do is just learn some very, very easy formulas. If you can add and subtract, right? Divide and multiply. That's all you need. Yeah, some very, very simple numbers. You know, and that's why I do really what I do. It's about educating people, because education replaces fear with clarity. Yeah, knowing what those formulas are, knowing who you need to talk to before you buy that property. You know, once you research an area and you understand the market, the demand, and the long-term numbers, confidence just flows through. You go, it's a no-brainer. Yeah, it becomes the word is inevitable. Yeah, inevitable. Right?
Yes.
As long as you follow the basic rules. Yeah.
Appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much. If you lost everything today, someone said, yes, very inspiring. I'm watching from Ambra. Some people are responding to your they should put in the chat button. Thank you very much, guys, for that. 1 minute, so let me just do this on TikTok. I don't know. TikTok operates differently. Okay, so thank you guys for putting in the comment section. Thank you. If you lost everything today, your portfolio, your brand, the McDalton brand, your cash, and you only had 5K and a laptop, what will you do in the next 48 hours to start replacing your income?
Right. The very first thing that I would do, if I lost it all today, right, if I lost everything, and I had no money, first thing I would try and find some form of work. So I've got food. I can get rent. I can get rent over my head. Yep. Okay. But really, right, I think the question is aimed at, if you lost everything, Mark, what would you do? Yeah. Right. I would just do the same again, but a lot faster. Right. So, you know, you use the word 48 hours. Within 48 hours, I'd be back in the target area and starting to make lots of offers and building up networks. Yeah. Letting everybody know what I'm looking for. Yeah. Putting out loads of offers, because volume to me creates opportunity. And when an offer gets accepted, right, as long as you've done, because I know my numbers, I know I've already made money. And even if I couldn't even get a mortgage on that today, right, I could pass that on to somebody else for a fee. Right? And people would pay me a good fee because it would be a great deal. Yeah. Right. But if I was able to get a mortgage, right, then I would probably be in the market of doing a rental with it, or potentially getting it fixed up and selling it. But for speed, I would pass it on to another investor. I would build a list of local investors, get myself financially a little bit more stable, and then start investing like crazy. And I mean, like crazy. Yeah. You know, if you're doing property right, you do the work once and you get paid forever. In your job, you know, if you're in paid employment, right, you're going into the job and getting pounds per hour, and you only get more pounds if you do more hours. With property, right, we buy that smelly house, we fix it up, we make it worth more, we put a tenant in there. We've done that work once, and we're going to get paid forever. I love it. I'm lazy. You know what I keep saying. I'm fat and lazy. Yeah. But guys, our parents taught us that hard work would sort everything out. It's not. It's working smarter, and that's where the education for me came in. Yeah, you know, I was lucky enough to understand it, grasp it relatively quickly. But you know, you just think, inside you, every single one of you will feel, every single one of you, if I buy property and rent it out, that's going to help my financial position. Yeah, going forward. Yeah.
Thank you for that. One last question before I see if there's anyone that wants to ask a question is that if you can name 3 books that has changed your life, please do. Then why do you always insist that I should read 10 pages a day? So
just repeat the question again.
If you can name 3 books that have changed your life, please let us know. Then why do you always insist that I should read 10 pages a day of a book?
Why? Right. So I'm insistent on the 10 pages a day for people. Yeah. Because it's small enough that nobody has excuses. 10 pages, you know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you know, a day. And over a year, that's multiple books, new thinking, and a completely new thinking, and you're a completely different standard in your own life. Yeah. 10 pages a day puts you in growth mode. You're feeding your mind with ideas, perspectives, lessons that have taken other people a lifetime to learn and get into a book. One idea, one insight, one shift in thinking from a book can literally change your financial future, right? And it's cumulative. It compounds over time. You know, if you put garbage in, right, you get garbage out, right? If you put great stuff in, great stuff comes out. One book changed my life. Yeah, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it was only one sentence or phrase: income generating assets. Right, that's the power, and it made me realize. If I learned this from this book, how much can I learn from other books? So I became an avid reader, and now, from not reading a book in 20 years to having a library here in front of me, you know, across the wall here. Yeah. But you asked me
3 books.
You asked me the books.
Yeah, 3 books. Yeah.
So Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yeah. To me, that reshaped how I thought about money, assets, and income. Yeah. The Richest Man in Babylon. I love this book because it's timeless rules of money and wealth. And I must admit, I read that book every single year to remind me of what the basics are, because it's it's a cornerstone of what I do. People do look at me and say, Mark's made his money in property. Okay, I get that. Right, but where Mark's made his money is applying the rules from the Richest Man in Babylon. Right? That's where the money's being made, right? Because people can get money in. 2 people can get the same amount of money in their hands, and in one person's hands, it all disappears. Right? Which was the way I lived my life previously. Right? Nowadays, part of what I earn is mine to keep, which gets reinvested into more income generating assets. And that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Another book that played a big role very early on in my journey was a book by Napoleon Hill called Think and Grow Rich.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people will have tried to read this and just given up on it. Yeah, right. Some people have never even heard about it. It was written about 100 years ago. Yeah, right. However, right, that is a real book about you being a better you being what's the word, what's the phrase I would use, is you've got ambition, you've got desires out there, right? You want success, whatever you define as success. Yeah, anybody, when I say you, I'm talking about everybody on the call. Right? This book gives you all those success principles, and if you follow them, right, if you follow them, and I'm not saying you take them all on board at once, right? But you know, I used to read that book, and that book again gave me hope. It gave me thought patterns. You know, I used to think that at the age of 65, I'm going to retire and stop. You know, because that was what society was telling me. Well, no, right? Actually, most people never really get going till their 50s and 60s. Yeah. And if you look at the likes of Warren Buffett, Ray Dalio, the big investors, they're all in the 70s and 80s. Yeah. Right. So for me here, that gave me a different perspective. All my contemporaries, you know, that I grew up with, they're all retiring. They're bored out their brains. You know, it's crazy. Right. So, but there's plenty of others. You know, behind me, I've got a book called Goals by Brian Tracy. The Millionaire Next Door. If you want to be wealthy, study wealthy people, and the Millionaire Next Door is great research on who what wealthy people do. Yeah, and all you have to do is copy them. You know, and a book called The Slight Edge, right? Because everybody wants it today. Everybody's looking for the quantum leap, but it doesn't come. It comes through the small, tiny actions that you take on a daily basis. You know, in the book, it says you're either on the upward curve or the downward curve. I could have a conversation with anybody on this call, and I would be able to work out, are they on the upward curve or the downward curve within about a minute, you know? And the job is to be on the upward curve. And yes, I love audios. I love audios. Turn your car into a university. You know, if you can't get it, well, that's wrong of me to say. Get the book, but also to anchor it into yourself, get the audios, and you can listen. You can actually listen to them, right? But books actually force you to slow down because you're reading at a slower pace. And actually, that's where the learning comes in. That's where you absorb the real lessons. And to me, you don't read Rich Dad once. You don't read Think and Grow Rich once. You don't read The Richest Man in Babylon once. You read it over and over, and you study it. What's the real message that's coming out here? What does, you know? How can I apply this to my life? And just by reading and studying, right? To me, that's where the real learning happens, and especially if you want to speed things up. Whereas if you're just listening to stuff today, everybody's, you know, on these things, scrolling, picking up little bits of this, little bits of that, little bits of this, little bits of that. That's not educating. That's entertainment. Stopping for and studying for, you know, 5, 10, 15 minutes is massive, and compounded day in, day out, right, is huge.
Thank you for that, sir. You shared a lot, and I'm taking notes, and I can see somebody say, I like the last question. What will you do if you lost everything? Mark is very realistic. I'll get a job. And there are different comments coming up here. So that without, so I just want to see if there's anyone that wants to ask a question. Some people are shy. I try to get them to ask a lot of questions, but some of them do, some of them don't. You know, but let's try. Hello, Ngozi. Welcome. What are your thoughts? What are your comments? Let us know what it is that you want to share, or any question you want to ask. You can tell. Okay, go ahead. We can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you. I thought it was a really good session. Thank you very much. It was really inspiring, and I think the two things I took away today, I took many things, but the main thing today, I think I will try to, the last thing you said about 10 pages a day, I think that's an area where I have many excuses as a busy mom reading. But I think I will compress it to a few pages a day, and I think it becomes a bit more achievable. So thank you for that tip. And the other tip was about fear, overcoming fear and, seeing what happens, because you never really know what will happen until you try. So yes, thank you. There were many things I picked up today. It was a really good session. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Thank you for, I'm sure there's so many things you could be doing now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well done, well done. Thank you. Yeah, so let me see if there's any other person. Someone says on YouTube, 10 pages a day, I need to work on that, and let me see if I can get somebody. Your VA247, what are your thoughts about, or if you have a question, let us know. Go ahead, please.
Okay, good evening. I just want to say a word of appreciation to the host for extending an invitation and thoughtfully including another party tonight. Like, it's really been an impactful session, and I would really like to recommend your efforts. Well done, sir. That's all.
Oh, thank you very much for that. This is Mark, showing appreciation for you coming on the live and the length of time. So let me see if there's any other person that wants to join. If you quickly want to join, our time is fast spent. Let me know if you want to ask a question or two. Our time is fast spent as I round this up. Let me see if there's someone else. Go ahead, Jato. If you have a question, let us know. Go ahead.
Hello, Mark.
Yeah, you can hear you.
So,
you can see you.
Mark, just a quick one. It's just a question I've had in my mind for some time. I've just been playing around it in my head. If you were to start all over again, your first property, would it be for you to live in or to do business with?
This is my personal view. I think everybody should buy their own house. And why? Right. Number one, it teaches disciplines about making sure that you're paying consistently. Right. My very first property that I bought as a very young man, not as an investor, right, I bought it for £17,000 back in January '83. And within 3 months, I was in Saudi Arabia working. Yep. Okay. Right. But the reason that I bought it is because it was cheaper to buy than it was to rent at the time. And there might be an argument for that in some parts of the country right now. It's cheaper to buy than it is to rent. Okay. So I bought this property, and within 5 years, it quadrupled. It was £68,000. And when I came back from Saudi, I sold it to move up to Luton, where I am. And I sold it because nobody told me that I could own 2 houses. I mixed with the wrong people. Yeah. And that property today, if I'd have kept it, is worth, well, the last time it sold in 2017, it's worth, it sold for £540,000 or £560,000. Okay. Right. So property keeps track of inflation. It's a hard asset. Okay. Right. Now, there's another piece here that people do not see, is that people that have a mortgage and get that mortgage paid off by the time they're 65, 70, or even earlier. Yeah. Right. They don't have housing costs. But there's a massive percentage of people in this country today, massive percentage, right, who are still renting in their 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s. Do their rents keep creeping up, or do they ever go down? Right. And the answer is they keep creeping up. Right. And while people are renting, it's destroying wealth. It's destroying security in my eyes. This is my point of view. And as a as a father and as I suppose a husband is I need to provide for my family. Yeah. And I've got to do whatever it takes to get there. Even if I had no money today, I'd work out a way of financing a house. Yeah, I'd work out a way. Yeah, even if I have to have 20 lodgers in, somebody else is going to buy that house. And after year one, it's 19. After year two, it's 18 lodgers. After year three, I don't know what the numbers look like, but that's what I would be doing. Right. I encourage all the kids that I work with to buy their own house. And sorry, I don't know your name, but one of the things that always jumps in my head, people always say, well, I can't afford anything here. Well, there could be a plan. I'm not saying there is, but there could be another plan, is that we buy something somewhere else, rent it out, even though we're still living somewhere else. There's a way around that. Yeah. The job is build wealth. Yeah. That's what we're doing.
Hello, Jude, does that help? Sorry.
Brilliant question. Yeah.
Yes, it does. It does, because Mark, this is Jude.
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 Yeah, I know who you are. Yeah, I know you, Jude.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so because I was like, now it's clear. The most important thing is build wealth. Whether you buy the house to live in or you buy the house to rent in, the most important thing is that you need to start building wealth, which is what I've taken. That's fine. Thank you very much, Mark.
There you go.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mark. I think our time is fast spent. As I would appreciate some final words, but there's something that's always in my heart, and I always been meaning to ask you. I think I might have asked you. I can't remember if I did. You don't need to do what you're doing. Why do you still do the trainings? Why do you still do the mentorship? Why do you still do the events? Why? Why all this? You don't need to. Why do you keep doing it?
What about I enjoy it? I enjoy it, right? I mean, the real why is legacy. Yeah. The real why is obviously legacy, family first, absolutely. But beyond that, I genuinely love training, mentoring, educating people. I get energy from it, seeing people grow, step up, change their lives. It keeps me young. Yeah, working with kids, it keeps me young. Yeah, it keeps me on top of my game, and stops me from stagnating. Most people are never taught this stuff. I was never taught this stuff. Not money, not investing, not how to build a future, and that always bothered me. I've had mentors, coaches, trainers, authors of books out there. Podcasts, YouTube, everything, and this is my way of giving it back, paying forward as such. Real happiness comes to me from helping other people. Right? It might sound soppy, but hey, it is what it is. Right? Can you imagine being 67 years old and just sitting in a chair and doing nothing for the rest of your life? Get a life. Yeah.
I get that. Thank you very much, sir, for that. It's very much appreciated, and I appreciate your time. And I appreciate that you could be doing so many things. So I'm sure a lot of people might be curious, how can they find you? What's the best way to find you if they want to continue? And I know you do there's the event where Jude met you for the first time. If you don't mind sharing about it so people can, because I want to come and see you face to face here.
Okay, all right. Well, first of all, I've got a booklet behind me. All right. There's a booklet around me because people, one of the big excuses is I've got no money. Yep, I've got no money. All right. Well, if you put in the right type of deals together, there's money. Yep. Right. The phrase that we use, if the deal is right, the money will come to the deal. And when people are bringing me property investments and I'm saying, no, right, all I'm doing is stopping them buying a property that's not going to work. But also, if they're trying to use some other form of financing, the other financiers aren't going to invest in them because they're not deals. So I put a short booklet on how to raise money for property without using their own cash. Even if you never invest, it'll change the way that you think about the opportunity. And inside the booklet, there's also an invite to some free sessions that we run. Education helped me change my life, and I believe it can help others too. So I'll just share my screen. Right, so I need to share a window. Let's have a go at that. And I think that's probably the best thing to hit. Right. Oh, there we go. There we are. I'm not too sure how to do that. Hold on.
Okay.
Right. So let's have a look. Just bear with me. So is there a QR code on your screen now, Onyekwelu?
Yes, I can see it.
Yep. Okay. All right. So that's the link to the creative finance ebook. I'll send you a copy of that over just in case people ask you for it. But the best thing for people to do right now is just to take a photograph of that. But I do appreciate a lot of people might just be watching on the phones or on the iPads already. Yeah, so I get that. Yeah. With regard to other stuff, hold on, let me try and come to it. Oh no, I haven't got it. I haven't got that bit there. But we do networking, guys. If any of you are in and around London, particularly SW18 Wandsworth, we do a networking event there. I'm sure Onyekwelu will let you know where it is. But if you want to follow me, if you want to follow me, Mark_Dalton Live, or find me on LinkedIn. Yeah, you'll find me on Facebook as well. So yeah, I'm out there. Yeah, just whatever your favorite channel is, you'll find me there somewhere. Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
Along those lines. Yeah. Onyekwelu, I really love doing these things, and hopefully at some point in the future I get to actually meet some of these people actually face to face. That would be absolutely fantastic. It's a great honor and a privilege to be able to help and guide people. Right. And it's just one of those things that I'm passionate about. Yeah. I just love seeing people succeed in life, no matter what troubles they go through. Okay.
Thank you for that. We very much appreciate it. Please, I want to encourage everyone watching, or anyone that gets to watch this later on, because a lot of people watch it more later on than when we're live. The Bible tells us that iron sharpeneth iron. So if you can hear all these things you've heard today, you'll be so fired up. When you leave, life happens to you. Mark always says that life will happen to you, and you can fall by the wayside. So my encouragement will be every last Monday of the month, there's a meeting that happens at a location in Wandsworth, like Mark mentioned, in the west part of London. You can come there and meet like minds. So when you come there, you're inspired by people. You can talk to people, and if you make it one of your habits, some people have bad habits, but you can also form a good habit. And one of the things you guys I don't know if you were listening, one of the recurring things that Mark kept talking about was that he surrounded himself with the wrong people. And until he surrounded himself with the right people, things start happening. So come and surround yourselves with the right people. Some of the people, like I mentioned here, Mark always said to me, or when I said listen to the creative finance course, he said some people have never met a broker before, and I come to the meeting, you'll see an accountant. Come to the meeting, their finance options. Come and you'll be inspired. Jude that just spoke now had to drive over 3 hours plus to come all the way from London. So there's no excuse, and there's no excuse. So I really appreciate you, Mark. I don't take for granted things that I've shared. I've gotten feedback from people, someone coming from Switzerland. I've gotten people from New York. I've gotten feedback from Virginia. I've gotten feedback from the Gambia. I've gotten feedback from Fiji Island. I've gotten feedback from you can't imagine it might just look like Mark is doing a thing, but when I get comments, I'll screenshot them and send them to you, so you better understand how far what you've done today. And it's going to be a key moment for a lot of people that were just relaxed, like you pointed out. And thank you very much. I don't take it for granted. So as we wrap this up, just to say thank you to everyone that watched. From the little I can see, I think over 160 something people on TikTok that have watched it. Thank you for everyone. I can't look at numbers now for the other places, please. Thank you to everyone. You could be doing a lot of things. I just want to say thank you. Thank you to my PA. Thank you to my social media manager. Thank you to my wife, who is taking care of the children now while we're doing this. Thank you to my mentors, which is one here is Mark. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you to all my colleagues in church or colleagues at work, people that will do different things. I just want to say thank you to you. So please follow for more. Remember what Mark said. You can find him with Mark_Dalton_live. So if you check that on linked on Instagram, you'll find him. If you type Mark Dalton, I think it's Mark Dalton on Facebook, you can also find him. Please follow him up. But I highly recommend that you come to the Armor. And it's not expensive. It's like £20, and you can bring 2 people, and you'll be happy that you came. So it's 6 p.m. It's not like during the daytime. Everybody should be at work, done with work by that time. Whenever you can get there, get there. But you'll be happy you came. And it's a pivotal place where I go to keep. He always says, stay close to the fire. So it's a place where I go to stay close to the fire. So yeah, share this so people can be blessed. A lot of people that you know will repost this so they can be blessed, and like it as well. So drop your biggest takeaways on the comment section. A lot of people start sending me messages privately or come to my DM. You can also drop it here. I know some people are shy, but please just still drop it here, please. And let us know your biggest takeaways. And click share, please, again and again. So next Sunday, same time, UK time, we'll be having a conversation on patterns and circles. Patterns and circles. And I hope that you guys would learn a thing or two from that. Please, I've said again, the free ebook. Mark talked about a free ebook. I'm gonna if you didn't take a photo, look on my WhatsApp channel. I'm gonna post it there, or I'm also gonna post it on all my channels so that you guys can access it if you didn't take that photo. So on my bio, you can find access to the free ebook for those that are interested in rent to rent or that always call about rent to service accommodation. Please check that there, and the paid one as well. And if you want to join a community of like minds, because you can do all this and tomorrow you go and you forget about it, or you start going about, come to the Armor at the same time. Scan the QR code to join and be a part of it. So remember what I told you, the How You Love, this 610 Homes and Love Family Podcast sponsors this live stream. Please check them out. The How You Love, they sell premium wigs. This 610 Homes, we do rent-to-rent, service accommodations, and property investments in the UK, property investments in Nigeria. Please check them out. Love Family Podcast editions coming out soon, so please look out for that. As we wrap up, I'm just going to share some of the things that Mark has talked about. Please bear with me. I know this is time fast spent. Mark talked about the importance of educating yourself. It's when he started educating himself that he made a lot of impact in his life. So I know a lot of you are professors or PhD holders. Please educate yourself in everything that, I've made a lot of mistakes. If you watch this stream, I always talk about it. Educate yourself. So that's it. Next thing is have at the back of your mind, income generating assets. I think I've made a hat for it. When it comes, I'm going to show you guys. Have it at the back of your mind. Income generating assets. That's the next thing he talked about. And I think he touched on, he talked about a lot of things. I'm talking about the key ones. Spending time with the right people. That's one of the things we're going to discuss next week about breaking patterns and circles is spending time with the wrong people. And he talked about that. And there's something he said that Brian Tracy said that I want to touch on. Focus on the highest paying task. So it's very important, guys. It's very important that we bear that in mind. The next thing he talks about is focus on buying properties. Focusing on buying properties. I think I remember what he's talked about. He said one of the problems you faced was that you were just focused on buying properties. You didn't give attention on how to manage properties.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. So and that was one of the things that your mentor now told you, that you don't have bad tenants, but you are just a bad manager, and you begin to work on it. So that's that. Thank you for that. And then actually you pointed out was make a lot of offers and make them cheeky. So I get people say to me, "Oh, I have the money and all that, I want to buy and all that." So I said the way I'm trained is that I have to make the offer and make them cheeky, and if I put my money in, my money must come out. So I'm not just going to rush on a deal because I have the money. So that's that. Thank you very much for that, sir. So another thing you said is that I don't want to be poor at old age. There's a lot of people who don't understand this and they realize they are old age. And I pray that will not be the case of anyone here. The next thing you pointed out was mentors get you there faster. Mentors get you there faster. So I'm not saying you must work with Mark. I'm just saying that whatever it is, at a different stage of your life, you need a mentor. So he's my mentor. You can reach out to him. So another thing you pointed out is access to money. So how do you point? I think I missed out on that. I didn't write it clearly. So yeah, you say cash flow frees you up. Cash flow is a purse that never empties. I like that. Cash flow is a purse that never empties. So let's bear that in mind. I think the last thing here on my list to touch on before we go is that education replaces fear with clarity. Education replaces fear with clarity. So guys, I know I've shared a lot of feedbacks and all that. I think you need to watch this video over and over, pause it, take notes, make them up, come to the Alma, follow McDoughton. He does things like this every Monday, I believe, right? On Facebook, every Monday?
I'm always doing things that people can come and have a look at.
Yeah, I think it's every Monday on Facebook. I think you follow him every Monday, I think something like this.
Onyekwelu, if people just reach out to me and I end up with their email, they'll always get access to what we're up to because we email it all out.
Yeah. So I think the better still is if you can reach out to him. I think then you can get updates on what is happening part time. So thank you very much, sir, one more time for everything that's been shared. Remember, guys, that in line with the things that Mark shared and the reason why I do what I do, I could be doing a lot of things, he could be doing a lot of things, is to stir up a dissatisfaction in your spirit, man. So you're not comfortable with being average because there's a lot in you that can come out. It's to awake that sleeping giant, to awake those potentials in you. And if after watching this for over an hour and 30 something minutes, 31 minutes, if nothing has stirred, you need to check yourself. But I want to believe that everyone here, I can see people say things like, I'm inspired, very inspired, 10 pages a day. I want to believe, and I'm seeing so many likes. We have about 15,000 likes so far on just TikTok only. I want to believe that you guys have learned a thing or two. Please, it's just not just learning, hearing is action. The reason why is because the Bible makes us understand that I've seen servants on horses while princes walk on the ground like servants. So we ought to be at the right place. Remember what Mark said? I don't want to be poor at old age. I don't want to leave. I forgot how he talked about it, about for his children. So please, it's not wrong to aspire. So while we wrap this up, remember that the wise always invest. Invest in whatever will make you replace your income. And just to say thank you very much. God bless you all. Peace and we are. Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you very much indeed, Onyekwelu. A pleasure, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I don't take it for granted.